Good afternoon, everyone. It's Hayes E with here with 25K Trading, and we're here for the closing hour. It's 11:57, which is 3:50 or 2:57 here on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast right now, and price of QQQ is trading at 183.77. We literally hit break even here. The opening of zero back to the zero because of that Trump pump and dump that occurred this morning. So what Trump essentially did this morning, he tweeted that they were cutting 10 million barrels from supply. I was, listening to Bloomberg. Doesn't say, and if you look at the tweet yourself, the tweet doesn't actually say, how many barrels per day, if they actually agreed with it or anything. It just pretty much said 10 million barrels. Uh, it's likely bullshit, but the markets took it and ran. And I honestly thought this kind of action was going to take place anyways. So I don't think it really made a huge deal. I thought we would have choppy action to the side, essentially the price being pinned from where it closed yesterday. So um, the morning pop really didn't affect my analysis. I don't really think the Saudis would significantly cut, mainly because they lowered their wholesale price last month, and that's so recently that I don't think. And also, there has to be the caveat with higher price oil, you get more inflation, right? And also, because of the unemployment, is the high cost of oil actually good, right? So in California, we're dipping below, was it $2 now for premium? I think. Um, I haven't gone outside recently, but I think it's around two or something like that. But it used to be around four, maybe 6 months ago. So it's very good for, I guess, our wallets if we're still driving. But because we're all in quarantine, it doesn't really matter, I think. But this is the chart here we have for QQQ. We're still running quite sideways. We had the initial drop, and then that tweet really popped things up. So we're looking here in the closing hour what the market wants to do. We're going to look for around 12:30 to 12:45 what the price wants to do. Right now, obviously, it's going up. It broke down. It completed this bear flag here. Essentially, just consolidated at these lows and came down. But I was looking at Twitter earlier, and I looked at the put call ratio, which is crazy. 1.5 is 1.5. So essentially, for every there's too many puts. There's not enough calls. So what they're going to do here is probably try to run it up, just uh, try to decay some of that time that's built into those options, because they don't want anyone to win here. Obviously, no one wants people to win. You just want the premium when you're doing options. Um, yeah, so I do think this pop is temporary. I don't think a new high is going to be made here in the last hour. I'll be very surprised if a new high is made here in the last hour, to be honest. But I do not expect this guy to get off running. I know that some of you guys had oil trades and stuff like that this morning. Oil looked like a pop and then drop. And then during the New York Mercantile Exchange, what happened was like huge covering volume or some kind of buy volume that came in that drove the price back up. And now we have this kind of similar kind of action. I don't know exactly if there's any news behind this because this looks like a pretty significant pop. Um, but let me double check the news real quick just to make sure. How are you guys doing today? I am still shorting QQQ. I am right now looking at news to see where this pop can. Okay, so I want to also say that the NFP tomorrow is coming out. The NFP is minus 100,000, right, or something like that, 100K. And I personally think the NFP non-farm payrolls is 30 times more, 20 times more, whatever, more important than unemployment claims. I've never heard NBC and Bloomberg talk so much about unemployment claims the last 1 week than I ever heard. Like unemployment claims, initial unemployment claims is not something a lot of people talk about. It's more about the payrolls. Because you can have people claiming unemployment, but we need to have jobs and that kind of stuff, right? Payroll jobs. So we'll see what happens. I think the NFP gets like smacked. Like it just like the NFP numbers gonna get blown out. I do not think um it's gonna be uh, as high as expectations. I expect the NFP to be blown out. And they can go ahead and say, you know what, we had a stimulus bill, this is all taken care of, but that NFP is going to be printed there forever. So I'm very curious to see, and I've seen a lot of market movement based on just the non-farm payrolls, just based on that one report. And it comes once a month. It's not like a once a week report like the oil or the unemployment reports. It's a once a month report, and I think that's going to be much more of a market maker. Today, I didn't really expect a lot of movement. I honestly think this is kind of one of those arbitrage days where a know nothing day happens. Of course, we had that 2% pop to the upside, 3% pop to the upside probably. But I really don't think much of it other than it's market manipulation with a Trump tweet. I mean, you guys are all well versed to know that Trump is bullish, right? He's a bull, market bull, right? That's why we went long for the last 4 years because he knows how to make things, go up in value just by talking, just with words, right? Obviously, it didn't work. It's not working right now because he doesn't know anything about coronavirus. But in terms of stocks, he definitely knows how to do the pump. And I think that's one of those, his psychological profile where he gets off the phone and goes, talk to my friends or cut oil, 10 million. They probably didn't even say 10 million. They probably, he's just like throwing out bullshit to see what will stick because the before that tweet, the market was negative. I do remember the market being negative, and it was slowly climbing out of that when he did tweet. And it was announced on the news a few days ago that he did hold a call with Vladimir Putin, and I guess he didn't even consult the KSA, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and they did OPEC is to have an emergency meeting or something like that. So I don't know about oil, right? Let's take a look at oil. I have some drawings on here. Oh, maybe not. So essentially, when this initial for oil this morning, you have this triangle here, right? This is a small pull, right? It's a 15-minute pull. So you have this extending line on here. You have the break, the retrace. You saw me tweet this, and you see it go down. And then I'm imagining this is a 50% retrace somewhere, and now it's going back up. It might do something like that. But I don't think so. This was just essentially the close of the pit. This was all that's fake. That's not arbitrage. That's just a pop on the close. So, I mean, but it did leave, it did rally oil from the lows up, and now we see a continued movement over because of oil. And I apologize if my stream messes up or something like that. I'm using Sidecar right now, and for some reason I updated the iPad last night, and it is it is not working. It is freezing a lot when I'm running my platform too. And I log in using Citrix. I don't know if that's the reason why, but hopefully my stream here doesn't freeze up on you guys. Sacrifice my trading platform opening. I have it open on my phone right now. But I hope to start streaming with my face out in a little bit by the time we get this other studio so we can start streaming all day. But right now, I'm just kind of like lounging on the couch with a couple of screens on my lap. Um, but yeah, so that's pretty much a rundown today. I mean, what we're only up. We close that. We're only up 2 points. So, you guys have any stocks or stuff to look at? Oh, I want to go over Luckin Coffee. Was it LN? So I want to tell you a story about Luckin Coffee. Okay, N, right? Okay. All right. So I am okay. So Luckin Coffee, apparently the COO or CIO, whoever it was, fudged their numbers. This is not uncommon in China. I when I went to yeah, I told you guys I live abroad. I was living in China working on my app that I co-founded. It's on the App Store. It's called Womp. But anyways, that's nothing related to trading, so I'll move on. But anyways, Luckin Coffee, it's they essentially with the model get some good coffee and some good tea, and then expand rapidly. Just build as many stores as you can. You probably know the story. And when I was in China, I was like, "But this is fucking coffee. Like, did they really name this shit fucking coffee?" Because if you look at the lettering, how they spelled when I was in China, it literally sounded like looked like fucking coffee, and I could not see that. The funny thing is that although the Luckin Coffees were everywhere in China, the lines weren't long. They were never as packed as a Starbucks, and you need to understand the coffee tea culture. In China, it's almost like a library. You go there, you bring your notes, you meet people for meetings. That's the place to go. The tea houses, the coffee houses, right? So everyone that goes to these places buys a coffee and sits down to take it. Now, Luckin Coffee is more like our Starbucks in America, where you go in, you buy something, and you kind of leave. There's not a lot of sitting, there's not a lot of meeting spaces, and that's one reason why I think that it's not as popular as Starbucks in China, at least to me. It's because at Starbucks there's a lot of space and a lot of also a lot of the Korean imported Korean cafes. The cafe culture is huge because everyone studies, needs a quiet place. Everything's really cramped in China. So you want to have the ability to go out and others. Like going to the library when you're in college. I mean, it's the exact same thing. So when I'm seeing these lines not there for Luckin Coffee and I hear about this IPO, I'm like, and this is 1, 2 years ago, I was talking to myself like, holy fuck, how are they IPOing this company? No one buys this shit. Well, obviously now you know it's fake. And when I was in China for the year, I literally did not drink Luckin Coffee once. Maybe I bought it once, right? Maybe once. And Starbucks is king. Like you don't want to go with Luckin Coffee. Like this is not like Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks, right? I love Dunkin' on the East Coast. If I'm with ladies, I'll get the Starbucks, right? With that, I'm just kidding. But, it's not like that. It's like Luckin Coffee is just very insuperior, if that's a word, very inferior to Starbucks. So I could not believe over the last year when I saw the price go up. I could not believe their valuation. It's complete bullshit. It's literally the concept of spending so much debt, right? You spend so much debt to look like you're about to receive so much income, and all you need to do is fudge the fucking numbers. I'll tell you one thing. The reason why I left China and I came back to the United States and I quit my the app that I founded. I was one of the co-founders. It's because of the data issues. In China, data is kind of like not. It's like think of everyone in China as like a Trump. They're just kind of like bullshitting around what the truth is. Although they'll give you concrete stuff, it'll be kind of half-assed, if that makes sense. For example, let's go back to manufacturing, right? With those PPE masks, it's half-assed, and also I'm Chinese American, right? I spend time in China. I know this. I experience these things. Everything is done to mass degree. It's not done to perfection. And that's the difference between America and the US. Everything is done to mass versus perfection, right? So when you have Luckin Coffee come out, it tries to be the best coffee stock. It wants to be this. I know what the people or the owners are trying to do, right? They want to be the best, but fudging your numbers to get ahead is not the way to do it. It's just not the way. It's not the way. And the Chinese PMI numbers, they're as fucked up as the Americans, us Americans using the stimulus package to pump up the stock market. It is literally no different, right? They can say, oh, unemployment is at, million for unemployment claim, right? But they'll go like, oh, it's no big deal. It's unemployment insurance, and this will be done in 3 months. We're supporting them, so we already know this number's coming out, right? That's 100% market manipulation. At no normal time is 3 million going to pop. At no normal time is the market go up on a 3 million, unemployment claims. Like we don't even know what NFP is, and the shit is going up. It's like, right? It's ridiculous. Let's go back to QQQ. It's actually bulling up here, so I want to kind of pay attention to it. But that was my little rant about Luckin Coffee. If it's a Chinese-based company, take it with a grain of salt. Right. Unless it's the big ones like Alibaba or Tencent. Those companies probably have to be reported. But any of these new IPO companies, if they're listed on the American Stock Exchange, um, I would again pay a little bit. I would not feel as confident on those numbers as if it was American. But then again, American companies also commit a lot of fraud too. So it all depends. It's like, do you do it openly where is this accepted, or do you hide it so well? And I guarantee you, with this market downturn, we're going to see more cases of fraud coming out. It doesn't matter what Chinese company, you know, American company, African company, European company, doesn't matter. This is going to explode. Essentially, reveal all the bad accounting that's been going on, just like in the with Enron, you know. So that's why I think the market going higher. We haven't really even seen many companies declare bankruptcy, other than the stories that, oh, mom and dad pop stores are going out, and the SBA loans don't mean anything because it's still a loan, right? Well, we haven't seen any bankruptcy. Have you seen a Fortune 500 go deeply underwater and not even consider a bailout and just floating, getting sold to another company right? We haven't seen that. Like they're all going like, yeah, this is temporary. We're gonna get bailed out, but bailout money goes only so far. Like Carnival, for example, they're burning through what $500 million per month or something like that. Um, I don't understand. Even if this thing passes, what's gonna give people the confidence to go to cruise ships, right? Where's the confidence? Right, would you wanna go on a cruise ship after like, at the end of December, right? At the end of December, this Christmas, would you wanna go on a cruise ship? And the answer, no. Right after all what's gonna happen in April with all the fatalities and stuff, I don't think a lot of older people are gonna want to leave their homes at all. Like, I was listening to the Goldman Sachs, director, for I forgot her name, but she was one of the high directors. She was on Bloomberg earlier today, and she said there are a lot of people that wanna buy now, there are a lot of people that wanna spend their cash, and there's a significant amount of people, that also waiting for this whole thing to pass after 1 year. They don't even care if they're buying at Lowe's or they're buying a dip, right? They don't even care. They're just holding on to cash and waiting for this to pass. And, like, it's the population that's mostly affected by, um, this coronavirus that has the most amount of money to invest back in the stock market. So unless we get that popular, and I know this because I know what my audience too as well when I was trading with you guys, it's generally older people, like 40 up, because you guys have the money and you guys are looking for the investments, right? Um, well, I can't say that for everyone. Obviously, there's gonna be teenagers, people in their 20s investing, 30s, but not to the amount of value, those like some other people have harvested. So it's those kind of people that are afraid of the future, right? And then we have dip buyers, like what's his face from Barstool, like buying like $1 million shares of Nike and BA on the way down, not knowing where these will bounce, not knowing what's gonna happen in the future, right? Although I'm shorting, at least have some, management here where I can just blow out my short and just go long. But like again, I'm telling mom and pops, they're not shorting the market. That's for sure. They're just either in cash or riding it out. So we're gonna get a little bit um, a better view of where the market wants to go at the close here. Since it went up here in the last hour, I'm maybe assuming, and I think that's just from covering, maybe a little more covering. So we hit the top of this channel again, maybe at 185.42. That would pretty much put me right back where I shorted the market this morning. So I don't know what to exactly do. I'm just gonna watch. It's bounced off this middle line. I mean, I see this head and shoulders pattern forming right here. If you see, there's another one. Oh my god, that's a horrible drawing, right? That's what I was thinking of. But there's also a head and shoulders pattern right here too. And this one can go to the upside. So we have two patterns here, right? We have a multi-day, what's it, 1, 2, 3 day, what it looks like 3 day, 4 day, 4 day head and shoulders topping pattern. And then we have this intraday kind of 2 day head and shoulders bottom. And the question is, do you even trust the 5 minute chart? That's the question here. Do you trust this 5 minute chart? I sure as hell don't. Let's look at this 1 hour chart. So we still have our goals on here. So today looks like really nothing. I mean, like we opened at 182 pretty much, and right now we're at 184. Really not a lot of movement here on the Nasdaq. So this oil pop, as you can see, really didn't really lift Nasdaq. It did go up. It churned a little bit, came back down. We go up, right? It's not the opening minute. The opening minute or the opening first 5 minute bar is crazy. Or the 1 day bar. right? Do you see any reversal candles here? I do not see. All I see is this the pair of reversal candles here. And all I see right now is a failed breakdown. This is all I see is a wedge breaking down to the downside. Like, I really do not see anything else other than a wedge breaking down to the downside. And even with the technicals, I care less about NFP. If they want to drive the price up based on NFP to sell the news, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news, then and if the NFP turns out to be pretty fucking bad, but not bad enough, well, they're gonna drive this up. I can tell you right now. But the only thing is that today, the price went down with the unemployment claims, right? We essentially pivoted to the futures high. Like this is where the futures high was. I think if I remember correctly, I'm not going to change graphs here, but if I remember correctly, it just literally went up to the futures side and came back down. It's literally like if you're looking at just SPY and QQQ, you're not able to see these control points, right? You can't see the overnight highs and lows if you're trading just SPY. So I would recommend those guys for you guys trading these index funds. Just look at the bigger picture. Look at if you mean you have to pay for uh, uh, data, but I'm sure you'll be like investing.com has the data for free, although it's probably lagging in a few seconds, right? But you can still you see where the futures are going, right? And I like those points. I like the overnight highs. I like the overnight lows because essentially they're going to test each boundary. They're going to test that high and they're going to test that low. Almost every single time, well, the majority of days I've seen this. That's why I say a no nothing day because the price that you think we're bullishing up to right now was actually the price that was overnight. So as a futures trader, we're just returning to a high or returning to a low. It's not like it's really going up, right? So it's very tricky in the futures. I honestly like I'm sticking right now back to equities because the futures is making me like crazy because of how it trades 24/7 and the amount of leverage you're doing. The amount of leveraging is crazy on futures. If you're not having a six-figure account, each account, SPY could be worth like 130K a contract depending on the trading price. And you could buy for 500 bucks or short for 500 bucks, right? It's just like I'm so afraid like I'm so afraid because you set your stop loss when you go to sleep, but like you sometimes don't want to set a stop loss. And so in order for me to not do that, I simply just withdraw myself from futures. It's just moving too crazy. There's no day where it's like if we can climb like once this gets back in the bull rally mode and we're climbing, quarter percent, half percent per day. That's a little bit more manageable because I am not a robot. So these swings are crazy. If you guys are out there trading on high margin, whew, that's all I gotta say. Fucking crazy ass swings. But I mean, there's a lot of money to be made too. But right now we're still shorting down to that B. I still think that we can go down to the B. I still have shorts up there near 193 and 194 for QQQ, so I'm not really worried about those if we pop up tomorrow. I essentially lose out on what I've gained in the last 2 days, but I was looking for a bigger prize, which is the B wave down, and then I can accumulate long. Because again, I'm not afraid. I'm not really. I don't think I'm with that group what I talked about earlier with Goldman Sachs that I'm the group where I'm sitting on most of my stuff is in cash and I'm just sitting and waiting because I know bear markets can take several months. We're just in month number 2 or 3, maybe. We're still not even there. I think if it were to have the lowest point would have to be the worst day for America, which is multiple thousands deaths. Unfortunately, we didn't want that to happen, but you know, just just thinking that it won't happen won't work. Like what we've done in the last 3 days, at least what Trump has been doing. I've lost a lot of confidence in Trump actually. Like you guys know, I was a Trump tard from the beginning, but just because of this fucking one coronavirus thing, like I just thought is completely ridiculous. And I understand why he's doing it. I completely understand why. Right? I completely understand why. If I'm president, I don't want the stock market to follow me, especially when it's gone up so much. I'll try everything in my power to do that happen because in reality, we have a lot of people dying from cancer per day, right? I can think that way, but he doesn't think, he just thinks numbers, right? So, um, 200, when he said 200,000, 100,000 deaths the other day, that's a big number, right? He can't override that number. The only thing he can override that number is like with, oh, that's why he's talking about China and tariffs, because when you say billions of dollars in tariffs, billions of dollars sounds bigger than 100,000 deaths. So it's a distraction kind of thing, you know? So, um, I've gotten to know the psyche of Donald Trump. He's very interesting. I don't think he's ever um, malicious. I just think he is not good in some areas compared to others. Like he's definitely not a doctor. That's for sure. I mean, like we knew electing him that what he says, he doesn't exercise because he is a living clock, and the people that exercise essentially are winding their clock down. Like, how can you take that seriously? That's like the most ridiculous thing. I'm pretty sure if you're healthy, you're athletic, you'll live longer, right? You should keep healthy, keep thin. Like, look at the Japanese, right? They walk around, bike a lot, generally keep thinner, in well-shaped weights. They do exercise. Some of the highest, they do communal exercises together. So great, Trump. Great for the stock market, great for business, bad at maybe national disasters. Let me just say that. Right? Good military commander because he knows how to be authoritative, right? Stir up shit because that's pretty much our agenda. Stir up shit. Uh, Horrible again at making medical decisions. Horrible. And I read a little bit on the whatever the general surgeon, whatever his name is. I forgot his name. So I mean, sorry, the Surgeon General. Uh, and apparently he was Mike Pence's Surgeon General when he was in Indiana or something like that. And now they're, not only them, the Surgeon General and the CDC, they're all today saying, "Hey guys, you should probably wear a mask," right? In Los Angeles, the mayor here declared everyone should be wearing a mask when they go outside. Like, why was I mean, obviously you don't want to take away stocks shortage from medical people, but why would you want to say that's ineffective? It's clearly effective. Like, I wore a mask. I have like a decent amount of N95 masks here because I was one of the first to buy. I also have relatives in China making the masks, and I'll go into that in no story we have time because the price right here is just chilling. Right, we're chilling at 84.59, and look, it's almost 12:30. It's almost margin time, so we got a little bit of time. But I like to touch my face a lot. I like to put my hands, my mouth, touch my eyes. I take my contacts out. I put in my glasses on. Um, if I wear a mask, it prevents me from pretty much like biting my nails, right? And I do this subconsciously. I even forget to wash my hands still when I'm taking the dog out, right? So it definitely helps. Definitely doesn't hurt. That's for sure. I agree. I agree, Esteban. I used to think that Dr. Fauci was a legit doctor, but he seems to be playing the chord of what Trump is telling him. I think he has his own opinions, but he's too afraid to voice them. Unfortunately, that's the case, right? Unfortunately, he should know better. And yeah, and they're right now trying to distract with China. Okay, so a lot of you guys probably know how this. Everyone's saying the China flu, right? Yeah, I know it's from China. The thing is that we had medical papers published in December. And the end, although they took them 2-3 weeks to say this is person to person transmission, they did say at the end of January. And Trump did have the Chinese a ban from Chinese foreigners into America, right? So we were all very aware of it. And now, again, communism. I'm not suspecting Chinese numbers. After seeing how America handled this with the pending tests and the ignored tests and the pretty much writing off of positive cases until like 2 weeks ago where we started mass tests or 1.5 week ago until we mass start testing, I think China's numbers are pretty there. I mean, obviously asymptomatic people, it's gonna be hard to diagnose, but like you gotta understand what communism is. If the government tells you to fucking walk straight, you're gonna fucking walk straight. You're getting hazed. In communist China, you're getting hazed by the government. Maybe not to like a bad degree. It depends on what Greek life you're in, right? Maybe get hazed lightly today. Maybe you've been given rewards today, but you're getting hazed constantly. If they tell you to stay in your home, you're staying in your fucking home. And if you come out, not only will the government shun you, your family, your friends will shun you too. Like fucking, you will lose shame on the family because you're disobeying the Chinese Communist government. And that's the only reason why they've been able to take the cases from that many down to zero. It's because they're communists. Like, people need to understand Western culture is not like Eastern culture, especially like communist culture. It's not the same. Individualism is not a thing in China. It's not a thing. People can't not think. People are afraid to break the rules. While here in America, you break the rules, you're a fucking badass, right? Like, let's go back to Luckin Coffee. The guy, the COO or whoever CIO that fudged the numbers, right? The counting numbers. He's probably get shot and killed and literally death sentence. Fucking lying. Like that's how. That's that's capital. That's I feel like that's a capital punishment in China to lie that bad. Like, no joke. Like, the penalties are harsh, right? Here, you have pastors going like, "Oh, freedom of religion, whatever." I don't even care. Like my ex-girlfriend's parents were very religious, but they were also scientists as well, right? But then you have people nutters here that are just don't believe in any science, right? Right? Those people are very rational people when it comes to stuff like that. But there's people out there that are completely irrational, completely irrational. And that's another thing. China has um, no churches. Church is illegal. Well, it's not illegal. It's just like no one does it. It's just well, religion I think is illegal. I don't quote me on that. But where do people hold hands? Do all this stuff and communal things at church. That's like a really bad place to spread. It's probably even worse in the office place because at least in the office, you're sitting in the same spot. If you have a desk, you're sitting in the same spot. You know, you're sharing food at church and stuff probably. Like sharing food, holding hands. And you've seen a lot of the reports out of Seattle is that a lot of people got it from simply going to church in Washington. And you guys know about the South Koreans, that cult. We know about that too, right? How did they all get it? They literally all almost like what that one like what they had like 4,000 plus from that one church infected. Crazy. So imagine yourself. I want to do one more scenario. Imagine like you're a mom and pop sitting at home. You're not really a trader, and you pop up CNBC because you're into stocks, and you're like, oh shit, like they're one reporting on $6.6 million or 6.6 new unemployment claims, and then you look at the stock market and you see indexes are up 2%. Like, what kind of idea is the Fed trying to send? Is the Fed trying to send the idea that stocks are good to buy right now? Because if they're giving the idea to let people want to come in the market and buy, the Fed could be literally leading to people off a cliff, right? You have um, all these operations going on in the background, which is artificially pushing up the price to a temporary status. And people are obviously hooked when prices are going up. They want to buy, right? So if these people, like last week, bought all week, what happens when the prices come down? Does the Fed have the responsibility of, essentially mitigating that downside again and again, or are they simply just popping up from the lows constantly, right? So I'm actually very confused how this is saving the average consumer because I know people that bought into the market today, and the market could go down, it could go up or go down, but let's take the scenario down, right? There's both possibilities. The Fed is just gonna do another fucking $1 billion, buy more fucking bonds, like like Like, this thing isn't over. It's been 2 week it's been what? It's beginning of February since really stocks have dropped, right? So it's been what, 2 months, right? This is all we're seeing. No. Yeah, see, I just think it's too early to buy. I mean, like, we don't even know, like, this thing can evolve and it can actually like, for example, they're like, "Oh, guys," like, just yesterday okay, so the big news the last few days was this is people are asymptomatic. 80%, 60%, whatever, like, 2/3 of people are asymptomatic. I fucking knew this, and if you listen to the news or read or you're any at one point, like, listening to this stuff, you would have known this in February. In January. The CDC said that in late January, like February, March. We had 2 months to know, and we're Merck News is now reporting on this, right? What the hell, right? We knew this was the issue that a lot of people are asymptomatic. We knew this. This is not new news. And look, I bet you next week they're gonna say 6 feet isn't far away from each other. The droplets can travel up to 20 feet. Because look, we already know this. If you sneeze or cough, those droplets can carry the virus 20 feet, right? I guarantee you next week they'll report on that just to distract. But this is information we all know that should have been we warned against. Am I not correct? 20 years are up. Okay, so we have a little bit of action here. 12:30. Oh yeah, same breathing can carry the virus. Yeah, I mean like wear fucking masks. I mean like obviously there's no mask. A bandana could help, but it's probably not gonna be great. But all you pretty much gotta do is not go outside and you won't get it. And don't let anyone come to your house. Don't hang out with your friends. Don't go to your family. Just suck it up and stay like a hermit crab for 2 months, and you'll probably not get it. The only thing is money, right? Money's gonna be an issue. I fortunately am in a good position that I can probably ride this out for the rest of my life, but I'm thinking about other people. That's why I don't vote. You guys know why I don't vote, right? Too much bias. I have too much bias. Too privileged. I don't get the vote. But yeah, those unemployment checks, like like we already know government runs okay, think of about if you guys work in a corporate or any big company, think about things how slow things get processed, like a new procedure or anything. Now think about these unemployment checks come in and this $1,200 refund, right? It's gonna be like molasses. E, what's in your radar to buy? Would be high yield mature fixed thing. So the Goldman Sachs says a lot of people are just saying fixed income, but I'm looking at big tech with big names. Uber, right? Like stupid company, right? Rideshare, whatever, easy to replicate. But they're the biggest, well known, and they actually, are doing something during this crisis. I look for big names, big social media names, trending names that, like when people talk about them, they don't stop. For example, Amazon. People don't stop talking about Amazon or Apple. Like those are the big ones, right? And then we'll mix it up with some more risky stuff. For example, small caps, right? You can just go IWM as a risky one, and you don't even have to right? Like you don't even have to go individual stocks. But I'm gonna go for big caps because I don't want to do any work. That's the thing, Esteban. I don't want to do any work after I go along. I just want to be able to set my stop loss every quarter and see where it could potentially go. So we just have this kind of sideways action. It's consolidating at this one level between 185 and 184, pretty much a significant amount of the day. Um, So let's see if we get a break upwards or downwards here. I'm not too certain. I think we go back down just because I'm really with the the zero no nothing day. Today definitely feels like a no nothing day. We have the MACD just going sideways, and we have the high and low points being hit on futures. It does not feel like this wants to go out or down. Really, really hard down, or really hard up. Like that's the only thing the computers can read right now. Where was the high? Where was low? That's literally the easiest thing a computer can read. What's your max high, max low? Or I'm sorry, what's your max? What's your min? But because as you have heard, if you've been looking at the news, a lot of these big hedge funds like there's no range, right? Only range is when you look at bonds, right? You see a spread. But here equities, right? Like I forgot who it was that I saw whose tweet. He's like, "Yeah, I'll do anything between like 19,000 Dow and 21,000 Dow." It's like I'll sell above 21 and I'll buy below 19. Big fucking range, right? Who said that this morning? Who's the guy with double line? Got his name. The goofy looking dude. Like Bond King. What is his name again? Gerlach. And dude, I'm almost certain Bill Ackman's gonna come up and say, "Oh, I dumped my shares at Marriott at 75." Like he's gonna come on TV like, "Oh yeah, we totally hedged for a double bottom, and we totally dumped, our Marriott. We sold our puts. We sold puts, and we bought back. We insured. We doubled down. That's right. Yeah, it's just so funny the personalities here. It's just they become a lot of these hedge funds traders and big fund guys. Like they have a lot more personality. Like now with social media, it's so funny. Some of them are nice, but like because traders all have the same type of mindset, I think it's very relatable when you can talk to one of those guys. They're like, "Oh, this big range, fuck it, we'll just do this." Like you can't tell me if I had double positions, if I was going long, short, right? My account would get chopped on this. Like there's no way if I'm going short and getting blown out, right? And I go long, then the long will work too. Like there's no way. I'm just trading one directional, and if it stop loss is out, whoop de do. But it so far has worked very well for me. So any position I have, I'm just gonna accumulate. They squeezed me out all last week. I did close last week. I got fucking destroyed last week. But like the accumulation of positions here is where I want to be at onto the short side until we hit that new low. Bam! I'm gonna close all my shorts and literally just start looking long. That's the I don't even care about a few more percentage points to the low side. If we do get the chance to hit that new low, like I am fucking hands deep in. But I gotta look at the macros a little bit more when it gets there too as well. I gotta see where everything stands. So it looks like we had the pop up from the NYMEX close at 2:30. Um, New York Mercantile Exchange popped up oil once again, kind of just floating around here. I mean, Nasdaq obviously doesn't benefit at all from oil. Um, so I mean, Nasdaq's kind of slow here. Are there any stocks that you guys want to look at too as well? I know I've just been rambling a little bit. But yeah, Esteban, I'll start. If since you guys follow me in the Discord and everything like that, um, I have more stones to hold after hours. That's why I'm playing indexes, Robert. The indexes can only hurt me so much, right? I'm not like shorting Boeing overnight where it can pop up 50%. UNG. Okay, so UNG is still slammed today. So I've noticed that UNG did not go up at all today. Right, this thing is pretty much like a penny stock at this point. Right, it's trading off that future, and simple as that, we can just say like if I was computer traded and I had to connect two lines, 2 points make a line, right? We're looking at low points. We're just looking at the two low points. that fits the best. Honestly, you can probably say like UNG if you want to sell puts like 11.20, like $11 and sell puts, and you just come in at 11. I just don't know about the decay. We're already broken past. Looks like I had existing trend lines on here already. Yeah, so it looks like we're broken below my trend. Oh, yep. So I have my trend line here. Actually, no, that's from previous. I think I was charging natural gas. My old lines were natural gas. But we got a pin here on the daily. Oh my god, I'm so hungry. That's the thing about like the very choppy, right? So honestly, if you want to sell calls at 11, I'm sorry, puts at 11, break that premium, and then if it does execute at 11, it'd be a pretty good price. I don't see UNG falling down below. Uh, I had a Tyler, let me get to dollar in a little bit, but I had a trade. I think I had UNG going down to 1.3. Another 30-cent drop from here, which is big, right? That's a big drop. Um, Let me find my chart. Oh, yeah, here's my chart for UNG. I am a buyer. Okay, write this down. I'm probably never coming back to this chart. I am a buyer of 1.0 between $1.06 and $1.34. That's what my clones say. I'm literally hands off until then. I'm not an expert. I don't like following oil and gas. I think it takes away from my equity trades. But I am. This is a pre-made chart. I think I tweeted about this. 1.3, 1.06, and I do think it'll get to worst case, Robert. That's why I have it down there, and that's why I think that we can still wait. Because we have this temporary bottom here, which you can go in at. That's why I'm saying maybe sell some puts. So if we do get there, you'll have the shares, and you'll rake that premium. I'm sure the premiums on UNG are pretty tasty right now. Premiums on everything are pretty tasty. Let's go back to QQQ. Tyler, I'll go to up in a little bit. I just want to see this market close, man. So let me just look at this real quick because we did pop up here. 15 minutes, we got to squeeze to the upside. So that looks like a bull flag breakout on the 5 minute. It just seems like a very mechanical kind of algorithm tick it up kind of thing. So let's see if it goes up higher. I'm thinking maybe we stop at 8 right around here. And I need to do something with my position right now because it looks like it's about to get blown. Looks like it's a rally until the end of the day. I want to see this volume come up on QQQ. The volume today was fairly light in the beginning, but it was very heavy throughout the day. That's what I noticed today. It was pretty slow in the morning, but it turned out to be a little heavier during lunch than expected. It's been heavy all afternoon. Well, I like TLT. Well, TLT up, yield down, right? I have TLT breaking out. Let me get back to TLT. I want to stay here real quick. I just want to see if it's unable to make a new high. So I think TOT was a sell like a month ago once it popped out because it if you look at TOT, there was a channel in TOT where it just exploded to the upside. You can probably so that week where it had a big green bar, I'm just recalling from memory. That's where it broke out from that down from that up. There was like a weird uptrend kind of thing going on, and it broke out of it. It just soared to the upside, right? And then it came back down. I think TOT is going to continue to rise in the future. I think yields are going to go down and bonds are going to go up. Like that's like where we are trending, and that's where we continue to trend. But stuff like bonds is something like you need to. It's not like a. I don't like day trading, swinging bonds. Personally, do not like swinging bonds. Bond market is very manipulated. If you don't know, if you can't see, extremely manipulated. I see that 20 years are up 0.69%, 69. But let's see here, going in the last 5 minutes here, or last 10 minutes. Yeah, so I'm trying to keep it very simple here, but bonds is something I do look at just based on market health because I want to see because bonds is only where you can get a really good idea of what the Fed is doing because that's where the Fed is going to be dealing with, right? The bond market, right? They say they'll buy SPY and equities to and diversify their assets, uh, but I have yet to see something indicating they bought like 1 trillion worth of SPY, right? Come on, let's go. All right, we're rebalancing. Last 10 minutes. Let's do this. Right? See that technical pop? It just popped to the outside because of that 5 minute triangle. That's the only reason one went up there. Probably saw a big buy coming in or buys coming into the end of the day, margin call, right? Boom, boom, boom. Easy few points for the computer. He's just taking it down. But I want to see it taken more down. That's the thing. I'm not sure if I like it closing near the highs of the day, right? Again, 10 minutes is a long time trading in these times. The options for me is too expensive. Dollar. Like, I feel like the best way to trade options is to sell. It's always mathematically favoritely, well, depending on how you calculate your options, right? Oh, whoa, what the fuck? Interesting, right? Right, guys? Very interesting. Close near the highs. A lot of volumes coming in. Not as much as yesterday's close, but I'm just wondering right now if this is the bottom of the range. Because we still have 14 days until my estimate. Like I'm ditching my estimate after mid-April that we're not gonna, if we don't make a new low by mid-April, like I'm done with that Elliott wave count. But I'm just very curious to see why there's a lot of buy in. I don't know if they're buying on the potential oil's gonna be rotated in and they're gonna push oil up, right? Because we have the emergency OPEC meeting right now. So they can either confirm or deny what Trump said today. Hmm. Literally back to where I shorted. Uh, but see that trend line is holding pretty damn well, right? And we still have another 5 minutes here, 8 minutes here. So far, it's still a lower high than the previous high. So far. Again, guys, so I'm considering what I'm not I'm thinking of what I should be doing right now. Because I do know the NFP can pop this up like a motherfucker tomorrow. I totally can't expect it. But I also assume that not a lot of people know what the NFP is. I'm assuming a lot of people don't know what NFP is. They assume maybe the NFP is like unemployment because unemployment has been the big talk. NFP comes once a month, right? I've never heard that radio stations and TV shows talk about unemployment claims so much, right? Like, look, I'm gonna go to NQ real quick. Right? So overnight, this was the overnight high. Right, that was the overnight high. And look, we're squeezing up higher. Actually, no, that's there's a lag there. That's not real. So you can see, as in with the futures, we did hit that overnight high, very close to that overnight high. Hmm, interesting. So we did make a new high. 185.97. Interesting. I gotta look at this when you close this and do a little more charting, but it looks like we totally broke out that trend line, right? And I know there's another trend line down here, like this. And this is a 2-day trend line. Like there's one like this. But I don't believe that's a breakout. Hmm. I gotta think what I need to do here. See this whole climb right here? I did not expect this whole climb. And maybe because it's the Bulls are much more in control than I expected, I thought of them right now. That climb right there, I thought we were just gonna go, sideways. I did not think we're gonna make a new high of the day in the last fucking 2 minutes. Right? So, hmm, what the fuck? It does look like it wants to fill the gap now. That is fucking nuts. Let's look at the volume. Volume is not popping yet. I don't know if you guys can faintly see my volume here. I don't know if you can see these red bars too. Hmm. Notice how this volume is declining, right? We can all see this. Unless we break this, I just don't trust low volume moves in the middle of nowhere, in no man's land. Right. I'm gonna I'm gonna take I'm gonna take a volume. I'm gonna ask someone to provide me a volume profile snapshot, so if I can see if there's a control point around here, around 181. I think that's gonna be pretty critical to tomorrow's evaluation because there's a chance that the accumulation was done right here because it's completely broken out. So I think the best thing to do right here would to be cover that intraday trade. I think that's a very good idea. We're essentially right where we're at the highs of that oil pop. So I don't know if there's something about oil that's coming on and if they're expecting something from oil. I have no idea. But today was a very big bullish run on the NASDAQ on the oil news. So I don't know what exactly here, but I guess we'll take this on we're gonna have to look at this more tomorrow. I'm gonna look at SPY too, because you said SPY broke out too as well. Um oh, so there is no new high. It did not violate that morning high yet for SPY. Interesting. Interesting. So it didn't want to fill the gap on fucking SPY, so why did it go up there? Right? We literally okay, so if there was an intraday trade, I would short this. Why? Because we're at the highs, where we're at the futures high, right? We're at the intraday high. We're at the high, right? So you short the high, right? You buy the low, right? In perception, but we closed here on the high. So that makes me want to think that are they going to drop it tomorrow? Are they going to run it up overnight? Right? I'm almost positive they might close that gap overnight. There's a chance I think they might close that gap overnight. So, but I did not expect that big ass green bar to continue to go up. So that was definitely supported by a big sell volume. Um, Again, I want to mention that there were before that pop even came, I mentioned the 1.44, which is the call ratio for every one one call. There was 1.5 puts, so obviously very imbalanced to the downside. So if the oil pop didn't happen, I imagine the puts wouldn't have been bought if that made sense, right? So so the oil pop came up, and as that oil pop pushed up the indexes, right, indices, whatever, people bought puts, right, which spiked the put value. And as the prices came down, we saw that put, get larger and larger, that ratio. And that ratio peaked right around when QQQ dropped to the low of the day, low of the intraday at post opening. So it dropped to that 182 level. And since I saw that put call ratio, that's when it exploded to the upside. I'm imagining right now that they're literally just erasing the puts. They're erasing that premium. So even if you come, if you have a, 185, if you have an in the money strike, you won't, you're just wasting the value of it, right? Because you're killing that delta. Um, SPY still moving. Um, I'll take a look at all this other stuff. But right now, I'm a little concerned because we did have a pretty good pop today. I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty good pop to the close. If I was a bull, I'll feel pretty damn confident. What's going on in the after act? So it looks like, holy shit! What just happened? What the fuck? What the fuck was that? I'm looking at my other two consoles right now. This thing is on crack. This is the last 5 minute bar, right? This is ES. This is the E minis. So, like, why would you buy at the close? That sounds stupid to me, right? Actually, this is not real time. This is probably the close here. But like, I'm reading it right now that the S&P futures right now are 2,524.38. Um, something did happen because we are right now around this 250. Really weird in the aftermarket, right? What's up, Doug? Let me see if I get any real time feeds here. I remember I do have one. I'm trying to hook up my futures account to TradingView, so because I paid for it already. So I'm trying to get the live feed here. NDQ. What's it? NDAQ. No, that's not it. All right. So yeah. So now it shows that pop. Right. So I don't know. So essentially, tomorrow NFP. I don't think anyone fucking knows other than people that are hedged. Right. Only people that are hedged will know where the price is going because they don't care because everything is hedged. Right. These just need the price. Holy shit. Is that still real time? But anyways, yeah. So tomorrow I'll probably be on maybe a little earlier. I'll just hop on whenever I have a little bit of time. What's up, Doug? Nice to see you back here too as well. So I'm gonna try to again. We're trying to turn this. Unfortunately, that's some crazy closing action, and it's still going too. So right, so like it did pivot all the way to the highs. Like this is where we were at 5:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. We were at the same level. We were exactly here this morning. So looked like the market opened. We had the unemployment numbers come up. We tumbled. Trump did the pump and dump. We went back up, and fucking this is our channel here. Like literally, like this tight little channel. Like that was the whole day today. Two points make a line. So interesting, very interesting. So tomorrow, if this thing fucking pops on the NFP, then I'm gonna say if this pops and doesn't reverse on the NFP, then I'm saying the bottom's in. I'm gonna go ahead and say like no one wants to dump this, right? Because NFP to me is a critical number. I have no doubt it will not meet expectations. It will beat expectations, which is bad, right? A total miss will beat expectations. That's in how many payroll jobs are lost, right? Um, which is not a good thing. But it's still coming up. It's still the futures are still moving to the up and side. I want to look at UNG how it closed to as well. So I mean, I'm sorry, USO, right? So USO didn't move. So what caused this pop? It could be some shenanigans happen overnight. It could be a lot of things, but it doesn't matter at this point because the futures traders got it. The normal market is closed. We don't want to do anything in the pre-market or the aftermarket. That's not if you're trading with me, you will never see me do anything in the pre or the aftermarket because that's not how I operate. Because those moves generally are faded or popped up artificially. due to the little trading, and big guys come in and they can squeeze or just pretty much decimate a position if they wanted to. Um, but so we had a very bullish close. We had a close for QQQ into the close. So it's a very good day for bears, even though once again, it's good news is bad news, bad news is good news, right? So maybe tomorrow, maybe tomorrow will go down, but right now I honestly don't have a fucking clue. Like legitimately, like just based on the heavy buy action, I don't really know where this could be going. All I know is if I'm looking from the daily, all I know is that I can go back to the daily, right? And I can see that this one candle has really no effect on the overall sense, right? We're still in the downwards pattern. We still haven't made a new high. As a matter of fact, we retraced to probably where the breakdown is. If I were to probably draw a line here, I'd be like, this is the downtrend breakdown. This today was just simply the attempt of the retracement to the upside. Because every time when something breaks out, it always makes this weird angle where it's goes up. So if we're going down, right? If this is the wedge, right? It's the same thing with that oil. What I drew in oil today. So if this is bear with my stupid lines, right? If this is a wedge, right? It's gonna break down and then do this if it wants to go down farther. So maybe today was that day, but it really did not go up enough to do that, right? Unless you're counting this wick from up here, 189. Why is that printing 189? Something wrong with this data. We go to 189 today, right? There's something wrong with this data. Weird. I do not remember why this is giving me the daily chart and it's going up to 189 on this wick. Weird. But anyways, we finished at 186 unless I'm on a different chart right now, but I'm pretty sure I'm on QQQ. But anyways, so guys, I still think we're in that 5 wave. Tomorrow would confirm my 5 wave or not. So I don't care about these unemployment things. NFP happens the first Friday of every month. One of the biggest reports you can have. One of the biggest economic reports. And honestly, NFP trumps all. NFP unemployment rates trump almost everything. That's how the market got so up. Every time the unemployment was down, NFP was good. Boom, boom, boom. We bullishly rose to the upside. So we're gonna go ahead. Uh, I'm going to reevaluate this tonight and see where it wants to, especially how the futures move overnight too as well. And then I'll come back tomorrow and hopefully we can trade the NFP tomorrow too as well. Unfortunately, my position kind of got fucked like literally in the last 1 hour. Can't do anything that I'm still holding some shorts to higher than this. So I'm not really worried about that one position. I'm just trying to marinate my steak and get a little juicy piece. And but I do not want to get burnt, right? I do not want to get burnt here. So what I'm thinking is that I'll repeat one more time. If the NFP is bad and the price is going up, then that's going to be an issue for all bears. That means to me that the bottom is in because it doesn't matter. At that point, it doesn't matter what report it is. No matter how bad it is, it's going to continue going up. No matter how many casualties there are, how many people are infected, doesn't matter, right? We already know about the 2 week, 2 week to 2 month kind of uh, um, um, of where this curve will peak, right, within the next month or two. Uh, So that being said, I hope you guys stay safe and healthy out there. Um, I hope you guys all have a great night as well. I'll be on here hopefully tomorrow morning too. If you like today's video, give me a like, follow my stream. I'll be on StockTwits pretty much all day tomorrow. So if you have a question, shoot me one online there or on Twitter. I don't really check my Facebook that much, so my Facebook page is will be neglected. Just make sure you message me on Twitter or StockTwits. But today's closing was very particular, and I kind of enjoy the last moment when the price goes up, when it moves against you, because it makes you kind of want to try harder, right? Try harder to predict where it wants to go next. But I will see you guys next time. Adios.